Hey everybody, Lewis here with Status Coup. Last night the big news came out. It's actually official. I know you are all absolutely shocked. Didn't see this coming whatsoever. Can't believe it's happening. Former President Donald Trump actually announced that he is officially now running for president in 2024. This speech was highly anticipated. Last week they even announced that there was going to be an announcement about some sort of announcement. This time he did not psych out all of the media again to cover his entire speech like they did last time. He actually announced it. Rather interesting speech, less Trumpy than we might have imagined. Let's take a quick look at some of that. We won't put you through the whole thing, don't worry.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. All of you.
All right, that was just a quick snippet from the speech with former President Trump, again, formally announcing that he is indeed running for president in 2024. This was pretty interesting. In that speech, notably, no mention of Stop the Steal, no mention of any sort of anything surrounding the elections, regarding any election fraud allegations or anything in 2022. He didn't mention abortion at all. And, you know, it was very to the script. There was only a handful of times when President Trump veered away from his script, which is extremely unlikely. Again, I've seen a lot of his speeches. I'm sure you have. He really stuck to his exact talking points, and there's a couple reasons why I think he might have done this. Number one is, you know, the elephant in the room. Obviously, Ron DeSantis is clearly going to run for president at some point here. And a lot of folks are starting to sway in that direction for whatever reason, right? We've got folks kind of in recent polls and whatnot coming out, leaning towards DeSantis. A lot of folks on Fox News are starting to prop up Ron DeSantis. And generally, like, DeSantis is billed as Trump light, if you will. Trump without the tweets, Trump without the crazy. And I think Trump, to a degree, is trying to assure some of those voters who are a little uneasy about the way the Trump presidency ended, that he is going to be this more moderate in tone version of him. Not politically, but in tone. He's going to reel himself in a little bit and kind of deliver a more even-keeled Trump who will stick to the script. I'm not convinced that this is going to last very long, but at least through this whole entire speech, he was able to do basically just this. Again, I think this could be a major part of Trump's plan, and we'll see if it bears out. Of note, though, a reporter in Florida actually asked Governor Ron DeSantis about Trump's big announcement, and DeSantis actually hit back at Trump a little bit for the first time that I've really heard him say anything to this regard. Let's take a quick listen to that.
We would like to know what you think about Trump's big announcement and some of the less than flattering comments he has made about you.
Well, you know, one of the things I've learned in this job is when you're leading, when you're getting things done, yeah, you take incoming fire. That's just the nature of it. I roll out of bed in the morning. I've got corporate media outlets that have a spasm, just the fact that I'm getting up in the morning, and it's constantly attacking. And this is just what's happened. I don't think any governor got attacked more, particularly by corporate media, than me over my 4-year term. And yet, I think what you learn is all that's just noise. And really what matters is, are you leading? Are you getting in front of issues? Are you delivering results for people? And are you standing up for folks? And if you do that, then none of that stuff matters. And that's what we've done. We focused on results and leadership. And, you know, at the end of the day, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night. The fact of the matter is, you know, the fact of the matter is, it was the greatest Republican victory in the history of the state of Florida.
As you heard there, Ron DeSantis says, take a look at the scoreboard. What he's referring to there is that he won the race for governor in Florida by nearly 20 points. It was an absolute blowout. Charlie Crist had no real chance there. But for DeSantis to win by 20 points is that's a very, very large margin. Obviously, it's a lot more than Donald Trump beat Joe Biden in the state by. Ron DeSantis clearly has the momentum in his state of Florida. I think that's, again, part of the reason why we're also not hearing Trump, call out DeSantis in Florida. Trump's big announcement speech actually took place in Florida, which likely was on purpose, that he is trying to project that, yes, I can be in your state and make this big announcement. But at the same time, the old Trump, you definitely know, would have been calling out Ron DeSantis there. But I'm not convinced that there wouldn't have been boos in the room potentially for him calling out DeSantis, because my guess is a lot of those people, or actually, my guess is all of those people in that room for Trump's announcement who live in Florida voted for Ron DeSantis for governor and were very happy about it. So, we didn't hear any calls for Ron DeSanctimonious. That's Trump's new nickname for DeSantis, but I think that was probably fairly calculated. Recent polls in states like New Hampshire, Iowa, Georgia, and several others actually have DeSantis up in these polls. These polls, though, are likely a little disingenuous in my opinion. This is showing a two-way race between DeSantis and Trump. In reality, there are a whole lot more folks going to be throwing their names into the ring, including former Vice President Mike Pence. We'll get to that in a second, but there's going to be several others as well. And in a race with multiple candidates involved, the more candidates that add their names into the ring, the more chances that Trump has to win. Trump basically has his, core base, let's say 35 to 40% of the GOP, ready to vote for him no matter what. And then the rest are kind of looking potentially to move on. No one else has that built-in base like former President Trump does. So we'll see where that goes. I also think that this is way, way, way too early to read too much into these polls. DeSantis is doing great right now, but he is peaking way too early in my point of view. I've said this before, but if you take a look back at some of the polls in early 2019, basically for the Democratic primaries in these swing states or these important states for primaries, it would have looked like Elizabeth Warren was going to be the next president of the United States. Last time I checked, President Warren was never a thing, hasn't been a thing, and wasn't even close to becoming a thing. So that tells you how much you should read into Ron DeSantis leading in these polls right now. Let's get back to former Vice President Mike Pence at this point, though. He did an interview with Sean Hannity this week that caught my attention. He's also been, did a big interview with ABC and several other places. He's trying to sell his book like any profiteering politician should. He's out there doing his darndest, but he's definitely selling this book ahead of some sort of big announcement himself. Let's take a listen to that clip from Hannity.
Let's talk a little bit about your future politically. You going to get back in the arena, thinking about it, on the fence? Where are you?
I could tell you, Karen and I are seriously considering what role we might play in the future, and including as a candidate for public office again. There's
only one office that I think you'd run for.
Well, you're right.
There's only one office that I'd think you run for. Yeah, you're right. Clearly, Pence looking to throw his name into the hat as well to potentially try to take on former President Trump. Do I think he has any chance? Hell no. I don't think he's going to get nowhere, but my guess is that we don't see Pence get over 10% in any polls at any given time. But I do think that he will be close to that 10% number, which again is going to make a difference. The hardcore evangelicals, the hardcore pro-life people, if we want to call them that, are going to be absolutely first in line. They're going to go and support Pence in a primary. We're also going to see several other names start to pop up here more frequently. Some of those folks that we could see are going to be Nikki Haley. We could see Kristi Noem. We'll likely see Mike Pompeo. The more folks who throw their names into the ring, the more folks who throw their name into the hat, the greater the chance that former President Trump has to become the nominee for president on the Republican side yet again, which, leads us to potentially a rematch of 2020. I sure as hell hope not, but at this point, I think that is going to be the most likely outcome. With that, thanks for watching, guys. Definitely stay tuned for our live stream that happens every single day. Definitely make sure you're subscribed. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a follow on Twitter. I am at LewisD217. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.